Welcome back on this Thursday morning. You're watching News Breakfast. We're beginning today with Queensland's bushfire crisis, with 106 fires still burning across the state and thousands evacuated from their homes. In the latest development, an emergency warning has been issued for the small communities of Camphor Beach and Serena Beach south of Mackay. Locals there were woken in the early hours by emergency phone alerts telling them to evacuate their homes immediately.
Elsewhere, the blaze at Gracemere has been downgraded overnight to watch and act, and firefighters are working to save the town. Other major fires remain at watch and act status as well. For the very latest, we're joined live from Rockhampton by reporter Ashley Stevenson. Ashley, good morning. Take us through what we know from the ground there.
Good morning, Michael. It's been a very difficult night for several hundred people who have spent the night here at the Rockhampton Showgrounds. They're amongst the 8,000 people who were evacuated from Gracemere yesterday afternoon when that bushfire started to really threaten the community. I am here this morning with one resident, Lisa Reeves, who did have to evacuate. Lisa, how was your night?
Oh, it was pretty rough and hardly any sleep, but at least we got here safe, got out of Gracemere because we live in Gracemere, and so far as I know, nobody's got hurt or anything like that, so other than that it was not too bad.
What was yesterday like when you got that order to evacuate?
Oh, well, I didn't think it was that bad at first, and then my daughter got onto me, and then my partner was watching the news, and then we realised that it was getting serious, that it was already at Nearcole, which is not very far away from Gracemere, and then I've hit panic mode and sort of thought, what do I take? I didn't actually realise what I had to take, and then I just straight away thought photos, ID, and just packed a set of clothes and said, come on, let's go. Yeah, it was pretty frightening experience, yeah.
But a bit of good news this morning from the local police. Can you tell us what they've told you just recently?
Yeah, they said that the roads are all open, we're right to go, and I'm happy to be able to go home and have a shower, and we're all safe.
Thanks so much, Lisa. We did hear from local police a short time ago that residents are now being allowed back into Gracemere, that those roads have reopened. From what we understand from local firefighters, there hasn't been any property damage, but they did say they are monitoring that situation closely. There are still dangerous conditions around, so a watching brief from authorities still.
OK, thank you very much, Ashley. We'll bring in now Emilia Terzon in Agnes Waters in Queensland as well. What's the latest in your patch there?
Good morning. It's breakfast time here at the base for New South Wales Rural Fire volunteers, and it's great spirits here this morning. I can smell the bacon and everyone's having a laugh, but the conditions here have actually been incredibly trying at the major bushfire at Deepwater National Park that's been raging now for days. The conditions yesterday were especially horrific. We had incredibly strong winds, and as we saw last night, the last of the residents of Deepwater were evacuated by boat because the bushfire burnt out their last access points in and out of the community. So just staggering conditions there yesterday. To tell me about the conditions they've been battling, I'm joined here by Larry Bagnell. He is a volunteer from Western Sydney who's come up. Hello, Larry.
Morning.
So what sorts of conditions have you been battling at Deepwater National Park the last few days?
Well, yesterday was very hectic. We had tremendous winds, and not just from one direction. It was swirling winds, which made firefighting very, very difficult. But everybody pitched in, did a fantastic job.
So swirling winds, to me that just says the fire is just going whichever way, you can't predict it.
That's exactly right. So you've set up to fight a fire going in one direction. The wind swirls around. You've got to scramble and just reappraise everything. It's just went crazy yesterday.
And so how are you battling that? Is it hoses? Is it you're looking at aerial water bombing? What are you doing?
Well, a bit of everything. You know, firefighting on the ground. That's that's the soul of this place. And then the aerial bombing. They're just a blessing. Those people. You know, they really make our job a little bit easier. Not easier, but a little bit easier. So they're great. Yeah.
And so the conditions you're battling are obviously extreme, and then the actual dense bushland nature of where you're fighting as well. It's been incredibly dry. What's it like when you're walking through these areas?
you're right about being incredibly dry, and some of the areas where we can't get big trucks through, you've got to take the smaller ones in, which makes it more difficult because they contain less firefighters. So you've just got to look at the terrain, you've got to look at the conditions, and you've just got to make your plan for those conditions. Yeah.
And you've also got another big day ahead of you now.
Yeah.
What's the plan today? What are we hearing about conditions? They're a little bit more favourable, I've heard.
Well, last night, we've only just woken up, obviously. We can see they've got having their breakfast. Last night they said today the conditions are going to be catastrophic, but at the moment they're looking pretty good. So we'll just go out in the fire ground, and we'll just check it out from there.
And Larry, you've come up from Western Sydney to help us out in Queensland. What makes you do that unpaid 12-hour shifts as a volunteer? Why are you here?
Well, we always say you don't have to be crazy to be in the RFS, but it helps. And, I've been doing it for 43 years, and we'll go home after 5 days and we'll be exhausted and our eyes will be stinging. And if they say, do you want to go again? Everyone will put their hand up. You can bet money on that.
What is it about it that you love that will make you do that?
Oh, I think just looking around the friendship you meet with people, and not only our district is there, we're from Cumberland Zone, we've got other districts there, and it's good to meet other firefighters and get to know them, and then you meet them again on the next excursion. So that's one of the reasons you do it. Yeah.
I've been seeing people shout out thank you to firefighters as they're walking down the street here at Agnes Water. What's it like to know that you're just helping the community so much?
Look, one of the best things about it is you'll drive past the property and you'll see a sign up that says thank you fireys or thank you firefighters, and that's just fantastic. That's better than any money they ever pay you.
Well, there you go. It could be another difficult day for the rural fire volunteers here from New South Wales, but I'm sure they'll have a couple of great bacon and egg sandwiches and then go off and do another great job today.
Emilia Terzon, thank you. They're all doing fabulous work. All eyes on the weather still, of course. Nate, how's it looking in Queensland on that front?
Well, we're not wrong that